So
Hello.
it turns out that if it wasn't obvious since like episode 8, 9, I really like Rin, and I made a decision last time that messed me up.
Yeah, Julian, I had already said to him that I didn't want to give away too much and didn't want to but I'd been looking up decision trees just to get a grasp of how he was doing and what kind of path he was going down.
Uh huh.
And this rings a bell as being like one. This is like the first decision that you can't. That you, I think one of the first that if you make a certain choice, you can't come back from it. There's no going back. And it's go for it. And if you go for it, then Emmy's like he's a sporty guy, but then obviously your heart gives out, and she's like he's a sensitive guy, and from then on, it's the two of you. So
It's
what you
just
should do
Emmy.
is take it easy, and that way your options are a lot more open. But Emmy is no longer an option ever again.
Okay, that's fine. I can live with that.
All right
Oh,
then, I let Emmy go with her own pace, and she doesn't show mercy, pulling half a lap ahead of me in an instant. I don't blame her. I mean, it's not as if I'm really putting up any sort of real fight out here, is it? Instead, I'm just running at a steady pace, which is what I should be doing, right? There's no need to go pushing my limits at this stage of the game. God, is this even worth it? As we finish the second lap, I break off again. Emmy keeps going, and it almost seems to me that she's disappointed.
yeah. You know what? That's fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to disappoint you, girl. I'm sorry.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have anything to prove to her. Come to think of it, I've got nothing to prove to myself either. I'm just fine the way I am.
Yeah.
And what I'm not is a runner. This was probably a bad idea. Maybe there's something else I can do instead of this. Getting up this early sucks anyway. There's got to be some other way to keep healthy. Walking, maybe. Nice afternoon walks. Yeah, that sounds good. Running isn't for me. I wave to Emmy and head back to my room. I'll think of something else later. Back in my room, the first thing I see is the familiar row of medication bottles lined up on top of my dresser, and it makes me depressed, as usual.
Oh,
It's annoying. I thought I was okay. I thought I had made my peace with this thing, gotten over it. But what I really did? I allowed myself to forget that I have a problem. Being here really reminds me of the reality, and trying to fight against it just hurts. So one way or another, he still has like a reality check of like, well,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. It's just that Emmy's is a lot more abrasive.
Mhm.
Reflecting on it is only going to do so much. I've done this before for months. It seems like it's time to get over it.
Yeah.
If I allow myself to forget that my life is definitely not going to be as long as those of others, I won't get anywhere. My life may be different from others, but it is a life in progress. That's how I'll rationalize it. I down the usual handful of pills, trying to push the sudden dreary feeling out of my head. Then I prepare to head out to class early, as usual. As I step into the hallway, I notice Kenji coming around the hallway corner, stealthily making his way over to his own room with a large bag. As he sneaks past me soundlessly like a ninja hiding in plain sight, I call out to him.
Hey.
He jumps at the sound of my voice.
Oh. Hey, my man. I didn't notice you there. I'm really tired.
I think it's more like he didn't see me, but that's not the issue.
Where have you been? Where have you been this early? Shopping? Nah, I wasn't shopping. Sometimes I have to visit the math teacher. Yeah, I figured it would be a good idea to find out when the next exam is, since he tells you in advance if you want. So then, what's in the bag? I thought I'd go shopping while I was outside. I need supplies to continue the fight against the vast Philistine. Oh, okay. I thought you didn't go. I thought you didn't go outside. I wear a hat now.
I decide not to point out that he's wearing a hat, that he's not wearing a hat.
Yeah, he's not wearing a hat.
An awkward silence settles between us, and then Kenji breaks it by pushing his door open slowly, releasing a creaking sound into the air that only makes the moment seem more awkward. He sets the bag down inside his room and then closes the door.
Um, I'm surprised you went out of your way to find out a test date. Trying to take advantage of an opportunity to study is pretty diligent. I never study. I just wanted to know when the next test day was. I'm still gonna take it, duh. I need to know so I know what day I can't afford to skip class. Usually sends out updates on that crappy buy phone, so I had to step out and check up on it. Why do you have to go out when you can get it on your phone? I don't carry a phone. What do you mean you don't carry a phone? You mean you just leave it at home? Nah, I don't use phones. I don't have a phone. Phones? I have no phone. Phone home? No. Why don't you have a phone? Why can you not have a phone? No phone at all? No phone?
Who wrote
I just
this?
don't like phones. Actually, I'm kind of scared of them. I don't know why. I think it's some kind of repressed trauma. Like the one that I have against women. But anyway, basically when I hear a phone, I get nervous. It's my darkest secret.
Okay.
I have two theories on it. Either I have some fear of receiving some undefined, ominous, life-altering doom call, or I was beaten with a phone in the past. Beaten so badly I can't remember it. Beaten in the head? Well, where else could I get beaten with a phone that would make me unable to remember it? The ass? Or should I say the arse?
Unexpectedly logical. I feel very depressed now. Sensing this conversation is more or less over, Kenji opens his door again and prepares to head inside.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep, dude. Have a good one. Class is gonna start in like 20 minutes. I already did something today. Too tired to go to school. Hey, you need some lip balm? I accidentally bought two because I thought the store had started selling individual AA batteries. Thanks, but no thanks. Whatever, my man.
He swiftly enters his lair, finally letting me go to the class. For a change, I'm not among the first ones to come to morning class. Instead, almost everyone seems to be here already. I recognize most of my class by their faces now, though the names escape me still. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I've even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overtly attentive. The first days, I was pretty high-strung in class. Muto finishes his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival.
So, as you know, the festival's on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, and also, come Sunday, that's the day. Please keep the meaning of this festival in your mind.
This bit?
Okay, cool. How to skip mode.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. Cool, nice. Hey, so I'm gonna make you a one-time only, like, super extra special lunch offer. Emmy's homemade lunch boxes, and a privilege to join them in private with two bombshell beauties.
Her overly flirtatious sales pitch echoes in the hallway, a remarkable feat since it's full of people. Emmy strikes a very confident-looking pose, as though an attempt to one-up her own ridiculousness, puffing her very modest chest and making the V for victory sign with her hand.
Sounds delicious. To what do I owe this honor of being invited? You stood there, looking really lost and sad, so I thought you could use some company.
That is probably the most depressing reason imaginable.
So, like, how about it? You're probably really lonely and would eat that awful cafeteria food all alone otherwise. I'm kidding. I'm JK, I'm just kidding, man. Just kidding. Sure, I'll have your lunch offer with pleasure. Let's go to a roof. A roof? Why the roof? Because that's where we eat lunch. And if I don't get up there, then she'll probably like wander off, and then I just know she'll go hungry because she never packs a lunch for herself because she's so dumb. Oh my god. Who will? Come with me.
And you'll find out.
Yeah,
Without answering my question or waiting for a response, she grabs me by the arm and drags me through the hallways. I attempt to make conversation on the way.
Why do you have an extra lunch?
Emmy smiles guiltily.
Actually, it's like yesterday's lunch. I slept in lunch at I slept in a lunch at
lunch?
lunch and forgot to lunch the
A
eat in a
lunch?
lunch.
Reckon.
Lunch.
Are you going to eat my
Riggy.
lunch? Uh-oh.
Oh.
Huh. The stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated. But it's great to be used recently. Yee. At the top of the stairs is a door, complete with missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual was that removed the lock. Emmy shoves the door open and
I wonder if
into
we
the
can
sunlight.
skip some stuff.
Maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, because we've seen this all before. I can't believe. I'm sorry, Rin.
Yeah.
Baby, I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, here we are.
Okay. Let's return. Okay, this is the timeline that we're going with. Alright, and we're gonna carry on.
Alright.
I mean, you can't, like, help someone get dressed every morning and not get along, you know? I see.
Rin chooses this moment to interject.
I have trouble with shirts.
Right, that seems fairly obvious.
Really?
Kind of?
This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That, combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious, makes me feel slightly better, and yet confused.
I mean, you've got no arms. So, putting on a shirt seems like one of those things would be difficult.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stop talking now.
Shut the fuck up.
It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner.
I see.
The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a contented noise.
Ah, that was like so good.
As she busies herself with cleaning up her lunch, Rin speaks up.
I'm thirsty. Oh, I almost like forgot about that. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one to Rin that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk, complete with pink colour scheme, and keeps an equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch for herself. Rin dexterously stabs her straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow I don't think either Remy or Rin are...
Remy or Rin.
Remy. Either Emmy or Rin are the sorts of people to think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities.
Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh, Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure.
So, how do you like it up here?
Huh? It's quite nice, actually. I like high places for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for lunch, too.
Emmy grins a 1,000-watt grin, pleased by my response, I suppose.
No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time too, okay? I'll be eating with you every single day, don't worry. I won't make you lunch, but you can bring your own up here.
No lunch service? Oh, no.
Yeah, what do you mean no free lunch? I'm in it for the free lunch. Emmy looks mock offended.
Trying to take advantage of my good nature? You're such a dick, man.
She giggles.
Well, if that's your answer, I guess Ren and I will just keep eating lunch all alone.
I'm suddenly assaulted by the most heart-rending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Emmy pouts.
I mean, she does have cute eyes.
She does.
That's true, but I'm all about this.
Yeah, okay.
Gunning for this.
Kidding? I was kidding. I'd love to eat lunch up here again. Good location and company's okay too.
Emmy frowns a bit at my declaration of okay, but seems happy enough that I've accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now. Or at least, acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs.
Ren, you didn't finish your lunch again. I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat more, you're gonna fade away.
Rin shrugs, as if this is an acceptable risk.
Come on, we better get...
Oh, come on. We better get going. I don't know what was with the girly voice. My bad. It's weird.
The three of us head down the stairs together.
It's almost like this whole conversation's playing out in my head.
Oh,
Crazy.
funny you say that. The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan for something to do after school, so I head to the library to return a couple of the books I finished reading. Walking inside, I see that there are about as many students here as there were on Tuesday, all the more evident from the almost total silence enveloping the room. As I drop the books I borrowed into the return slot in the counter, Yuko suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the banging they make as they hit the trolley next to her.
Sorry, Yuko. Didn't mean to startle you.
No, that's fine. It happens a lot. I'm used to it by now.
Yikes.
Sorry, I don't know what was with the gruffness. How can I help you?
It's okay. I think I know where everything is. Thanks anyway.
I suppose I'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do, and after reading so much during my stay in the hospital, it's become a hard habit to break. I wander down to the fiction section towards the back of the library, scanning the books for anything that catches my eye. Something else is going to catch your eye. As I do, oh, here we go, I look over to the corner where Hanako had been the last time I was here, not really expecting anything to come of it. I cannot speak neither. Surprisingly, though, she's there, absorbed completely in a fairly thick book. I decide against intruding on her like last time and get back to finding reading material.
What the fuck was that, man? In a fairly big book.
Big book. After an indiscernible amount of time spent perusing the aisles, I finally decide on a couple of books to get and slide them off the shelf. With a minimum of fuss, I quickly walk over to the counter, check out my books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remain, but the majority have left, presumably to their homes and dorms. I guess I need to buy some supplies. I can't live off cafeteria food eating out my entire stay here. As I leave for the gate, I make a few loud stretches to try and stave off the tiredness that's accumulated over the week.
I've got a feel you.
Oh.
Oh.
After passing through and rounding the corner, though, I see a solitary figure walking downhill towards the small town below. The colour of her hair and tapping of her cane are unmistakable. I quickly walk up to her, which seems to catch her attention without a word needing to be said.
Hi, Lily.
She takes a moment to place the voice, slightly adjusting her head to face a bit more towards the source of my voice as she does.
Hisso?
Yep, that's me.
She seems to have a good memory for voices.
I mean, you'd
The
have
fact
to.
that she actually remembered is a pleasant surprise.
Good evening. What brings you here?
Once again, she gives a small polite bow. And, once again, I reply in kind before realising that I needn't do so.
Just going out of town. You?
Huh, my, what a coincidence.
Doing the same thing, huh?
I usually go shopping on Fridays.
She pauses for a moment, suddenly looking a little lost.
That said, Hanako usually comes into town with me.
Ah, not lost, but worried. The two do seem to keep pretty close tabs on one another. Kind of surprising that Hanako would just forget Lily like that.
I noticed her reading in the library. She probably just got caught up in a book. I know what that feels like.
She lets out a small sigh of relief.
Thank you, she has a habit of doing that.
Avid reader?
Right. She doesn't like being around crowds of people, so reading away from everyone lets her relax a bit.
Although she probably didn't intend it, I can't help but grimace as I recall my first meeting with her. Hardly wanting to bring it up, I remain silent as we quietly continue to walk down the quiet road. Tack, 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 tack.
Tack, tack, stackety, quiet.
With the road bereft of cars and the students of Yamaku increasingly far behind us, quiet rustling of the leaves and measured tapping of Lily's cane against the sidewalk are all that can be heard. It's kind of nice, especially compared to the hustle and bustle of where I used to live. Before I know it, I've relaxed so much that a loud yawn escapes before I can control it.
Tired?
Yeah, been running ragged these past few days.
That's an understatement, to be sure. Transferring into a different school would be bad enough, but nothing like this.
Well, hopefully everything should settle down for you. The festival's got everyone in a spin right now, and you've been plopped right in the middle of things.
For a moment I hesitate, but given her apparent tolerance for frankness, I decide to give my full thoughts.
I guess Yamaku's kind of different though. I mean, the formality surrounding everything, the isolation around it, not to mention the most obvious difference. It's kind of a whole different mindset. I suppose I'll get used to it, though, in time.
She gives a matter-of-fact nod, apparently pleased with my answer. It feels almost as if she's included me in the flock of students she's shepherding, along with Class 3-2 and Hanako. Well, not that I mind. It's nice to get the thoughts off my chest in any case.
Looking on the bright side, one could see it as a chance for a new beginning. You should cherish the ability to make new friends.
That's optimistic. Nonetheless, it's good to have a positive attitude about such things.
I guess that's a good take on it.
Walking down the road, she seems to become somewhat unsettled. Before I can ask what's on her mind, she seems to collect herself and speaks up about something else.
Oh, I wonder what's up.
Hmm.
So, where in town were you going?
That's actually a pretty good question. I'd come into my food, but the layout of the place is still totally foreign to me. I had intended just to wander around and see what I could find, but with sunset already approaching and nightfall not too far away, that doesn't seem very wise. I'm going to have to ask her for directions. Again.
Awkward.
I was just gonna get some food, but now that you mention it, I don't really know the way.
Well, now, this is quite lucky. I was just about to go to the convenience store myself.
Looks like I'll be in your care again then, thanks.
Together we walk to the store. My pace carefully slowed to remain beside her. Compared to my usual walking pace, hers is quite a bit slower. Not that it's without reason. After what couldn't be more than several minutes, I catch sight of our objective. This town really is pretty small. Without further ado, we make our way inside, with a greeting from the counter.
Mind if I tag along with you? Usually Hanako would help me, but seeing as she's not here...
It takes a moment before I realise what she means. Considering she wouldn't be able to read any of the labels, shopping without any help would be a big pain for her. That said, I can't shake the feeling that she'd had this idea since I said I was coming here.
Sure, it'd be my pleasure.
I grabbed 2 well-used red baskets from the small stack beside the entrance, handing one to Lily. She lays it on the ground, putting her school bag in it, retracting her cane and sliding it through the basket's handles before picking it back up in her right hand. Wait, if she doesn't use her cane... Before I can contemplate the thought, she comes beside me and pinches the cuff of my uniform in her slender jacket.
And her slender jacket.
Slender fingers. I don't know where I got jacket from. Sorry.
That was incredible. It's okay. We're getting tired. It's getting to the end of the day.
Yeah,
and,
it's late.
It's getting late. You know. So that's what our brains are tired. You know.
Yeah.
Is this all right?
Sure.
I have no reason not to accept. I can think of worse things than shopping with a pretty girl holding on to me, even if it is out of necessity.
Damn, dude.
We navigate our way through the store, with not one of the occasional passing customers seeming to bat an eyelid. Considering how close Yamaku is, I guess seeing students from there must be entirely normal for the local residents. As we reach each aisle, I quickly check with Lily and find out what she needs. I grab it along with what I'm looking for, and put our items into their respective baskets. I guess this is the same routine she and Hanako follow every Friday.
Right, all that's left is bread, and that should be my shopping done. Do you need anything else, Lily?
No, this should be everything.
Off we go then.
With a quick side trip to the bakery section, we make our way out to the registers. The line, thankfully, is almost non-existent. It's not long before we both paid for our food and are out the door.
Oh, look at the night sky. It's lovely.
As Lily retrieves her cane and extends it to full length, I waste a minute looking upwards at the night sky while holding both our bags. For a moment I try to make clouds with my breath, but the summer's heat doesn't seem to cooperate. Eventually she rights herself, taking a quick stretch before taking her bag and leaving me to my two.
Oh, this is awesome.
You tired as well?
Mate, we both are. The festival preparations have been
We all are.
complete chaos. She's in there breathing down my neck doesn't exactly help things either.
Hey, she's only trying to get everything organized. Better now than later, right?
I suppose. I'm going to enjoy relaxing in town tomorrow, that's for certain.
I guess the festival preparations must be taking their toll on both of them.
John?
We walk out to the quiet street, talking between ourselves as we carry our bags of food and supplies from the store. Wait, what's that? I notice a very distinctive figure making its way towards us, silhouetted by the street lamps. For a second, I think it's another male student from my class, but as he, or should I say she, gets closer, I recognize her quickly.
Oh, Ren, what are you doing out here so late?
Rin?
Lily perks her head, looking like she's trying to focus on listening more keenly. It suddenly comes to me that I should probably interpret the scene for her.
It's Ren, Tezuka, I think, was her last name from our school.
She stiffens at the name and gives a complicated-looking expression, something like a forced fusion of a composed smile and a painful cringe.
Okay, I think now I'm learning something interesting about Lily. She has a lot of problems with a lot of people. Either that or she's judgy.
I think Hisa was about to get into it, but I think it's a case of because Rin's very much like in the clouds and cryptic and like random, for lack of a bit, random XD for lack of a better expression. And Lily's very like prim and proper and
Yeah.
is quite like straightforward, I suppose, very matter of fact, which
Yeah.
Rin can be, but is also like quite Ridley about it all.
I see. Ah, I understand.
I guess Lily knows Rin too. Rin turns to look at us, looking terribly out of it. I'm not entirely sure if she recognizes either of us, or at least she doesn't acknowledge it if she does. She looks like a zombie. Or a statue. Statue of a zombie. But slowly, some symptoms of understanding seem to light in her dark eyes. This is something she must react to. Rin blinks once, very thoroughly.
Hello.
There is an awkward pause, everyone waiting for someone else to say something.
What are you doing here this late?
I was wondering about that myself too, just now. Some people asked that just before. I assume they're wondering the same. I didn't know. They don't know either. I asked. That's why I'm wondering. So that was pretty much it. It's a murder mystery without a murder. They were going that way.
She turns facing to her right in order to demonstrate the direction the other people went to, as if that was important, then rotates back like a mechanical puppet in one of those overly complicated clockworks. For a person who gives an impression of being the quiet type, Rin really does use a lot of words to say things that don't need a lot to be said. Unsure if she's finished, I say nothing. Neither does Lily, who seems equally robbed of words for the time being. I think that both of us are in fact just scared that any response might provoke her to continue. Her stupefied lack of reaction doesn't faze Rin at all. She keeps looking at us expectantly, a calm hint of expression on her blank face. She seems to be that kind of person, always so relaxed. As if bull elephant grade sedatives were flowing in her veins in place of blood.
Do you have amnesia? I don't recall you having anything of the sort, though.
No, I don't think it's that. The other passerbys were probably just worried, though. You do look really lost, the way you're standing in the middle of the street.
Oh, I see. Maybe I should have taken some other kind of pose in that case.
I ponder for a while whether I should chase this angle further or give up for the sake of my own sanity. I decide on the latter. It seems that most of the time it's better not to read too deeply into what Rin is babbling about. Talking with Rin is like playing chess with a supercomputer who does seemingly completely random moves as if to mock everything you know about chess. It's like that, except with human interaction.
And with that, I think we'll carry on next week.
Happily,
Next time. Not next week. We'll come back and record next week. But
we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I'll see you next week, John. But yeah, if you're enjoying the series so far,
let us know.
Yeah,
let us know who your favorite
girl is at the moment.
Girl is, yeah.
Yeah, who's your waifu? We are gunning down the Rin timeline. Just saying.
I'm gonna say just a quick tidbit that my first time playing, I made the same mistake as Julian, and without realizing it, I chose Emmy and went down an Emmy path. But after completing her storyline, Lily is my waifu, and I got very into it, basically. Anyway.
All right. Okay. Cool. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting that we decided we went for the same one the first time.
Oh yeah, I thought so too. Like you can. I feel like you can tell by the way that I'm like reading it and when we first meet her.
Right.
Like if you go back and listen to it now that you know that, we'll be like, all right, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. Anyway, good night, guys.
Yeah. Let's see you next time.
Bye.
Well, it's good night for us anyway, right? Bye.
Good night to me.
Good night. Good night, John. See ya.
Good
Bye.
night. Good night,
Bye.
babe.
Good night. Good night, John. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Part-timers, we do this part-time. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe.